My name is Frank Mitchell. I'm 60 years old, retired mechanical engineer. I spent the last 34 years married to Susan. She was my everything, my college sweetheart, my best friend, my world. I built her a house with my own hands. I stayed home while she climbed the corporate ladder. I believed in her dreams more than my own, and for most of our life, I thought she believed in me too. They say you don't truly know someone until they betray you. I used to laugh that off, thought it was just something bitter people say. Now I realize it's the bitter truth. We used to have Sunday breakfasts in the sunroom. Movie nights with popcorn she always burned. I built her a garden. She filled it with roses. For decades I thought we were happy. But time doesn't lie. People do. And one evening, just a few months ago, I realized I was living with a stranger, and she'd been lying to me for a very long time. It started small. Missed dinners, late meetings, a change in perfume. I noticed she stopped looking me in the eye, started keeping her phone face down on the table. Passwords changed. Laughter that wasn't for me. I tried to give her space. Maybe she was stressed. Work had gotten intense lately, but deep down my gut knew. Something was off. One night I planned a small anniversary dinner, just the two of us. She showed up an hour late, didn't even touch the food. Got a text halfway through and left, said it was a client emergency. But her smile when she read that message, that wasn't a business smile, that was something else. I didn't say anything that night. I just watched her walk out, and I knew something was over. I just didn't know what yet. I'm not a tech guy, but I'm not helpless either. Years ago, I set up her iPad to sync with her phone. She forgot. I didn't. One night after she fell asleep, I opened the iPad. Messages, photos, hotel bookings, reservations. A name I didn't recognize kept coming up. Rick, VP of Sales. Turns out Rick wasn't just selling software, he was selling fantasies, and Susan was buying them in bulk. They had nicknames, inside jokes. She called him Ricky Roo. He called her Queen S. It was all there. Dinners, she told me, were board meetings, conferences that were actually weekends away. I copied everything, printed screenshots, email threads, their hotel selfies, the timestamps. I made a binder, labeled it Truth. And I hid it in the garage under old blueprints. She had her secrets. Now I had mine. The breaking point came on a night I will never forget. Susan had told me she was going on another conference trip. I knew better. I tracked her location through the iPad. She wasn't at a hotel. She was at Rick's apartment. I drove there, parked across the street. And for 2 hours, I sat in my car, watching the lights go on and off, hearing their laughter spill out through an open window. My wife, my Susan, with him. That night I didn't sleep. I didn't even cry. I just sat at the kitchen table, staring at the binder marked Truth. By morning, I wasn't Frank the husband anymore. I was Frank the strategist. If she wanted to build her life on lies, I'd tear it all down, brick by brick. And I'd do it in the place she loved most, her precious company. Susan's company was hosting a huge anniversary celebration, 30 years since its founding. Big gala, hundreds of guests. And Susan? She was leading the event. Rick, too. They would both be on stage talking about integrity and teamwork. The irony was suffocating. That was the night I chose for my revenge. I got there early, brought the binder, brought everything, screenshots, photos, hotel bills, even a USB drive with a carefully curated slideshow. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't going to scream in her face or start a fight. No, my revenge was going to be quiet, surgical. A cut so clean she wouldn't even feel it until the bleeding started. I spoke with the AV technician, told him I had a surprise video tribute for Susan, a slideshow celebrating her career. He smiled, nodded, and gave me a slot in the program. Perfect. The ballroom glittered that night. Chandeliers glowing, champagne flowing, executives laughing in their tailored suits. Susan wore a blue gown, her favorite color, the one I always complimented. Rick hovered nearby like a moth to flame. I stayed in the back, invisible, sipping water while the speeches began. They praised her for her dedication, her loyalty, her years of service. Words that once would have made me proud. Now, they were daggers. My turn was coming. The technician gave me a thumbs up. My tribute was cued. Susan was smiling wide on stage, basking in admiration. She didn't know her kingdom was about to burn, and I would be the one to strike the match. The lights dimmed. The big screen lit up. At first, it looked like a real tribute. Photos of Susan at company picnics, laughing with colleagues, winning awards. Then the images shifted, screenshots of messages, selfies with Rick, hotel receipts, texts about sneaking away. The audience gasped, murmurs spread, executives whispered. Susan froze. Rick's face turned pale. For 2 minutes, the screen told the truth she had buried for years, every secret laid bare, every lie exposed. When the slideshow ended, the room was dead silent. Susan's career, her reputation, her pride, shattered in front of everyone she wanted to impress. And me? I just stood in the back, watching, calm, cold, certain. Chaos erupted. The CEO stormed out. Colleagues stared in disgust. Rick tried to speak, but words failed him. Susan stood trembling, mascara streaking down her face, hands gripping the podium. She looked for me in the crowd, desperate, searching. I didn't move. I didn't smile. I simply turned and walked out. The night air was cool. I could still hear the commotion behind me, but it wasn't my noise anymore. It was theirs. The fallout was hers to manage. I had delivered the truth, and I was done. She came home hours later, face red, voice shaking. "How could you?" she demanded, as if I was the villain. I let her scream. I let her cry. Then I pulled out the binder, slid it across the table. "This," I said, "is how." She flipped through the pages, each one breaking her a little more. "You ruined me," she whispered. I leaned back. "No, Susan. You ruined yourself. I just held up the mirror." She begged me not to leave, but she knew it was over. 34 years, reduced to ashes. And I didn't feel guilt, only clarity. I'm not a young man. At 60, revenge doesn't taste sweet. It tastes cold, bitter, but it's real, and it's final. People ask me if I regret it. The answer is no. I gave her everything. My love, my loyalty, my life. She traded it for cheap thrills with a coworker. I don't regret ending it. I regret wasting so much time believing in someone who didn't deserve it. I wake up alone now. The house is quiet. But quiet isn't always bad. Sometimes quiet is peace. And peace, after all these years, is something I've earned. If you take anything from my story, let it be this. Betrayal doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. It shows you what you're really made of. You can let it crush you, or you can use it to rebuild. Don't waste your years on people who don't see your worth. Don't ignore the signs your gut screams at you. And if you must walk away with your head held high. Don't fight in the mud with liars. Expose the truth. Leave them to choke on it. then go live free, because life is too short, and I've already wasted enough of mine. That's my story. Frank Mitchell, 60 years old, a man who loved too much, trusted too blindly, and finally took back his power. Maybe you'll judge me. Maybe you'll pity me. I don't care. What I know is this: the truth is out, and the truth will always be stronger than lies. Thank you for listening.